Welcome to Fintech Daydreaming, the podcast that dives into the world of banking technologies and the ever-changing landscape of fintech companies. We bring you real-life examples from global and local thought leaders, as well as experts working within the financial industry, and seek out the best stories from the front lines of financial services innovation, where dreams of industry pioneers meet reality. Hosted by Pål Krogdahl and Ville Sontu. This is Fintech Daydreaming.
Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of Fintech Daydreaming, where Ville and I will take you on a fantastic journey through the interesting world of banking technology and fintech, like we always do every other week. Well, actually, that's not true, because every fortnight we have Janne with us and we do a deep dive into the interesting news around the Nordic Fintech Highlight newsletter that they release. But that's not the case this time. This time we've got a guest with us and we will have a fantastically good discussion, that I am sure of. I am Pål Krogdahl. I'm going to be your host for this episode. And like I always say, I cannot do this alone. I have my partner in fintech. We used to say partner in crime, but that doesn't align very well with financial crime and everything else. So we avoid that. And we promise still to not be talking about the weather here in Finland. We're not that British, and we said that for this season, if we do, you have the right to share with us a suitable punishment for the two of us. So we will stay away from the weather conditions here in Finland or in Europe or Nordic or wherever the case may be. But as always, I have Ville with me. And Ville, how are you? By the time this gets released, we would have had Easter, but we are recording this just before going off on Easter. So are you looking forward to Easter?
Oh, very much. I was about to say I'm tired but happy, because again, it's been a very intense couple of weeks at work. We've done a lot of podcasts as well. We're actually recording 2 today, which is a lot. But yeah, looking forward to the Easter break, and it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I would like to be able to say the same, but I've ended up with some commitments that I need to deliver on. You know, work is work and work is work, and I've just discovered that work is going to derail my Easter. But it's a good derailment. I am happy about it, like I always should be. But at least I will make sure that one meal over Easter will have some lamb, some mint sauce, and I've promised my family, as always, to make some Yorkshire puddings. So all of that will be on the table at some point during the Easter, maybe even with a glass of red wine from Italy. We'll see. Any big meal plans, Ville?
We're going to have a family dinner on Monday, Easter Monday. It's kind of a tradition that we have, but other than that, not much. I think we're planning a dinner on Saturday maybe, but we'll see. We'll keep the listeners in suspense.
Keep the listeners in suspense as to whether Ville and I get together for Easter meal or not. Yeah. Another thing that I'm going to be doing this weekend, my book has done the first round of editing by the publishers, and they've sent it back to me with a excruciating tight deadline. So I'm going to be spending at least Easter going through the edits that they have put in and to see whether I approve them or not. So one step closer to my book being published in July. So it is already on Amazon, and pre-order will soon be available. So I will keep you all fantastic listeners up to date on where we are with my book. But this episode is not about the book. This episode is where Ville and I get to be super excited. We have another executive with us from the banking world, a CEO, in actual fact, this time from S-Pankki here in Finland, which is one of the growing banks, one of the leading banks, doing some very interesting things and have a very interesting background. Riikka was actually with us on one of the previous episodes where we did a short interview from one of the events here in Finland. But this time we have managed to bribe her into spending a whole hour with us, or 45 minutes, to talk about the start of S-Pankki, where it's come from, its growth, and a little bit about the interesting life of being a CEO for one of the large banks here in Finland. But enough from me. Riikka, it's fantastic to have you here with us. Why don't you share with the listeners, the few that maybe don't know who you are, and a little bit about your background and history.
Thank you. Lovely to be here. And And my background, I've started in banking already in '90s, looking back, it's been great fun, but also I've seen all the kind of a banking crisis since '90s, so I know quite much about banking and of course about risks, but also about business and how the consumer behavior has changed, how the role of the banks in the society has, how important it has been, but also how it has evolved. I've been working for Nordea Bank several years, and then for Danske Bank, and now I've been here in S-Bank as a CEO for almost 3 years, and it's been great fun. So that is shortly about me.
Wonderful. The first thing that we can start off with, as we've discussed when we had you with us very briefly at the banking event, S-Pankki, unlike the other banks you mentioned, like Nordea and Danske Bank, actually grew out of a retail chain loyalty system that then became a bank. From your perspective, looking at the comparison between S-Pankki and Nordea and Danske Bank, do you see that heritage being a big differentiator and driving a different culture within inside of the bank? Maybe less traditional banking?
For sure. I think that from where the S-Bank originates and what is actually our purpose, I mean, by nature we are different. So, but in a good way, I would say, of course. But first of all, bank we are 18 years old, so relatively young in the Finnish market, or relatively young as a bank in general. And the bank started. Why the bank was established was that, of course, S Group and cooperative. So S Group, they have been existing in Finland since the end of I think that the first ones were actually built 1890s or something, and the starting point was that people came together, they had a challenge, and they wanted to solve the problem by themselves because they didn't see that no one else was doing enough. And of course, part of the role when the cooperatives grew was also they came closer to the kind of also the economies of the household who were cooperative owners. And cooperatives started to take, serve customers. Of course, as you mentioned, bonus was a big role already from the beginning. But then they also started to take deposits from the cooperative owners. But then when we came to 2007, the legislation in Finland was changed, and the cooperatives said, they needed to choose what to do. They wanted to serve the cooperative owners, but they were not able to take the deposits anymore. So the question was that, what do we do? And of course, there was the bonus system, which was important. And it was quite a bold decision at the time that we established a bank. And of course, we all know what happened in 2008. So I would kind of argue that if the decision would not have taken 2005 or 6 when they started to build the bank, I think that most likely we wouldn't have S-Bank in the form what we have today. But I'm really happy that we have S-Bank because we are a kind of a true kind of a challenger in the market and really an option for Finns. But the origin is in the bonus system, and we are actually, our role is to serve the cooperative owners as a bank and kind of offer cooperative owners and also an opportunity for wealthier future with all the services. Now we are a full service bank today for private customers in Finland. But the origin is in the bonus system, and of course it is also how most likely most of the Finns knows us because of the bonus, how we make it. It's cash which is paid to the accounts, and you can use it with your S-Bank Visa card. But I think that the bonus is actually a good entry point because it also gives us an opportunity to serve so many customers and also, access to that large customer base of 3.4 million customers. 85% of Finns are cooperative owners in S Group. But then, of course, coming from that origin 18 years, I think that we are, mean, what I would say, what I know also working from the other banks, we are very, I mean, it is easygoing. Of course, I mean, when you come to S Bank, I mean, especially to where we work in S-Keskus in Vallila, I mean, people are not wearing suits. I mean, of course, they are wearing suits from time to time, but it's quite relaxed environment to work, but still very dedicated, very committed, very motivated team. And of course, the growth is motivating. I mean, we have been growing through the 18 years, and now we are fourth largest bank in the Finnish market for private customers. I mean, those are a couple of examples what I would mention. But I would say that it's a very positive starting point to be the bank with the bonus.
You actually mentioned so many things that I want to unpack. But the first one is, like you mentioned, as a bank, you're only 18 years old, I think you said, which makes you a neobank almost, one of the disruptor banks. Do you have a culture internally as a disruptor bank? Do you see yourselves shoulder to shoulder with the Revoluts of this world? Or do you see yourself more aligned to the heritage of S Group and therefore have a legacy and an old view on the banking business?
I would say that we are somewhere there, most likely between. Some of the things, are, of course, I would say the starting point for innovation and creating something new is most likely easier because we don't have such a strong legacy. We are only working for one market and Finnish consumers. So basically, I mean, we have a very good starting point and it might be. But to be honest, of course, we have all the regulation what all the kind of incumbents in the market have, and when so that's why I say that we are there in between. And of course, at least to me, the biggest question is that there's so much what you want to do, what you see that the customers would actually benefit from, but then you need to be balancing with how to prioritize, what to do next. And so we have almost all the same constraints that everybody else in the market has. But by nature, I think that the team in S-Bank feels that we are really able to do be boldly ourselves, a bit different from other banks in the market. And that is actually one of our values as well. We want to be a bit different, a challenger, and we can see that there are still some kind of pockets in the market or in the consumer, what in their wishes, what we could be tapping in a different way in this market. But it's not that easy, most likely.
You mentioned the S bonus, of course, which is kind of a thing that everybody in Finland knows. It's the green card, you get the bonuses, and you have, like you said, 3.5 million Finns as your customers by default because you get the bonus card from the S Group, which you use all the time. Building a bank around a loyalty program from a retail perspective is actually not that new idea. I mean, we had Tesco Bank, for example, in the UK, and we have Riikka Bank in the our west neighbor Sweden. These two stories have very different endings. Riikka Bank is doing great, but Tesco actually failed with their banking effort. How do you compare yourself with these other kind of international examples of large retailers going into banks? And have you learned any lessons, perhaps, from the others?
I think that we are actually, if I compare, I think that we have been much more successful in being kind of taking a larger role in our cooperative owners' economical life or wallet than the other banks actually have been able to do that. And I think that is actually to be kind of that is in a DNA of our kind of S Group owners and our board that we are constantly seeking opportunities what would make us really stronger in the economy, in the wallet of our customers. And that is, we are now a full service bank. And that those capabilities have been built in a very systematic way through, of course, transactions, but also building the capabilities in the bank. And I think that there's already from the beginning been a been a kind of an ambition to be more for the cooperative owners than only the bonus bank, and also capabilities to invest and really see the bank as a strategic kind of ownership, not only building the bonus structure. So I would argue that, I mean, we have been more successful, but of course it's, I mean, others to kind of a judge. But we just met with the Riikka Bank, for instance, and I think that it was a really good learning dialogue. I mean, what they have been successful in and what we have been, and very practical kind of a sharing, of course, what you can share. But like, for instance, we discussed about micro savings, how we see that is a very good service for our customers to really build based on bonus, that you can also start building your wealth, and it is a very clever service for our customers. You can when you use your card, you can put aside €1, or you can choose the amount, or then you can save your bonuses to the funds. So I mean, that is really combining retail and banking, and so learning. But coming back to your original question, I think that those are maybe the ingredients why we have been more successful.
Yeah. I mean, literally, the S bonus is with you from birth to death, because I mean, I literally this month or last month I got bonuses from my optician, from my dentist, and you literally have a funeral home. So after you're dead, you can still get bonuses. So it's a kind of a big thing here in Finland for sure.
Mm-hmm. 500 million bonuses paid from last year, monthly, of course. Yeah.
That's actually very impressive. And I think that's potentially a slightly difference there, Ville, when you did a comparison to Tesco's. I know Tesco's in the UK, obviously haven't grown up in the UK. Tesco's is a home brand. Everybody knows Tesco's. But unlike the S Group actually has a much wider portfolio of capabilities than, for instance, Tesco's. And I think that's one of the main differences. S Group is very much ingrained in the Finnish culture, and I know there's a big competitor with K, but still there is not buy in, but you're born almost into the S Group brand, and therefore ending up with the banking capabilities as well it just becomes natural. Even me as a foreigner, I ended up by default as a customer of S Group, and like you said, my S bonus is automatically getting invested. It's a nice way of saving without saving. So I agree with that. But in 2024, I think it was 2024, S Group also took a strategic move, and you bought the Handelsbanken parts, or Handelsbanken Finland, as Handelsbanken decided to exit out of Finland. That was quite a big move, but I assume also then pivoted S-Bank into a much wider captive audience of customers. Has that helped you to move from being associated very strongly with the retail arm to more of a end-to-end standalone bank? And was that a strategic pivot, or was it just a market opportunity?
I think it was actually both. So to be honest, I joined S-Bank 23. So I just came here before we announced the deal. But I think that first of all, I think that of course it was an opportunity. Those kind of windows are not open very often, and it's not that many in the market actually. But I also think that honestly, it was a very good. We are a good home for those Handelsbanken customers, and they I mean, of course, and we are very bold that we were chosen to be the bank for Handelsbanken customers. But it also gave us capabilities what are actually needed in our strategy to be more kind of a considered and more established bank for customers who really want to consolidate more of their banking with us. I have a question here. I need to ask that. I get some email notifications. Do you see those?
No, we don't. So
okay,
don't
good,
worry.
because I mean there were a couple of those. I was thinking that now they see what I'm doing. Good.
No,
But
you have not published your new strategic directions. It's not a problem. Yes.
Good. No. Okay, but coming back to that, it is also a good. It is really giving us the capabilities what we need to when we continue building ourselves to be more considered and more relevant bank for customers who want to consolidate their banking more with us. So and I mean with Handelsbanken we of course grew to the next level when we look at the volumes, but even more important is that our advisory capabilities actually grew. I mean, we got 200 very competent banking advisors and leaders from Handelsbanken, and that gives us an opportunity to really be more in advising our customers and relevant, especially in the business of, area of savings, and so, so I mean both. I mean, I keep answering all the questions, both. Yes.
No, but that's not a problem at all, and from my perspective, it felt like it shifted S-Bank from being a pure retail bank to also moving into wealth management and private banking as well. So therefore, growing your foothold substantially. What do you see as being the main business areas for S-Bank? Where's the main volume for you? Is it retail banking or is it shifting more towards lending and wealth management?
Of course, most of our customers, we have 860,000 roughly active customers out of those 3.4 million customers. And they are using, of course, daily banking services. And of course, they are using daily banking services very actively. We have a market share of card payments in Finland of about 15%. And that's clearly above our market share in housing loans. We have roughly 6% market share. And in deposits, we are about 8%. So that kind of shows that we are stronger in daily banking. And of course, how it tells in a way how the customer base is with kind of a pockets what we have there. But we are, already. We are fourth largest when it comes to housing loans in Finland. And Danske has approximately 9% market share. And then, of course, OP and Nordea are larger. And we are well established actually in wealth management already. But of course, Handelsbanken was really, really big opportunity. And we are now especially growing in savings. Private banking, we have had already since 2013 when we actually acquired FIM. But now we have an opportunity to grow, especially in savings below private banking, because we have more advisory capability and we are also building digital services in that space. So the greatest growth potential lies that we can increase our share of wallet as a main bank for our customers, but especially in the savings and wealth management area. So that's why the Handelsbanken transaction was very important. As an example, our private banking number of our private banking customers doubled, and we got 2 billion more AUM from Handelsbanken transaction.
How does it actually mix the world of high net worth individuals and private banking and the perceived brand of S-Bank as a kind of a retail-based, more kind of a common man's bank, I would say. And especially considering that I literally remember you have an ad on the TV running right now where it's basically you have the old bank branch and the old bankers and the nobody's going in there anymore because everybody's just doing their banking on their S-Bank mobile applications. And these young people, the kind of not the type of people you would associate with high net worth individual private banking. So again, how does it mix? Is this a kind of a new genre of people using private banking that are actually happy with the way S-Bank is dealing with these topics, or how do you see this?
maybe coming back what I said, I mean, we are already a private bank, and our private bank profile, I think it's quite close to actually other private bank profiles. Of course, we have less ultra high network customers, which is a very actually small segment in Finland in general. However, of course, the brand is a question. It is a question, and to me at least, the question is that how could we really make the brand really reflect what we are, and that is what we are constantly, of course, working on. But for those customers who we are a private bank already, I mean, they don't have a question with the brand. But of course, the brand is a question when you want to grow and you want to be lucrative even for more of those kind of a type of customers. And there we have work to do. But to be honest, it is still building on top of a very strong brand. But then the question is, of course, that is the private banking what it is now, or what it used to be? I mean, is it really fancy luxury offices where you meet your banker and then you discuss your savings? I think it's very complex advisory, which is really adding value for the customer. It is also that you have good selection of services to really kind of offer what very demanding customers need. And it is also very much also helping customers to mitigate in a very complex environment and giving advice what you should consider now. And big part of that can be also digital in the future. And also considering the shift of the wealth from older generations to younger generations, I think that we are going to see also in private banking and wealth management also shift to more modern type of wealth management, and that is what is really interesting for us. And there we see a lot of opportunities when we consider using digital services, building on top of generative AI. Of course, we are not there yet, but that is our vision, that we can be there also convenient and combining that service with digital. And there then the question comes back to brand. So are we strong enough there? I mean, that we would be considered kind of a challenger there in that space as well. And we are working on that.
Yeah, there's a joke that you know how important you are as a customer for the bank by measuring how thick the oak table is in front of you. So maybe it's going to be something different in the future then.
Yeah. And I can tell you that I can when I was working for Nordea Bank, and I was actually that was 2017 or 8 when I was working as a head of branch region in Helsinki city center. I had that corner office in Senaatintori 30 branch, which is now being renovated at least once after that. And I really had that kind of a table, which was, I mean, I don't remember, I mean, it was so thick. And we couldn't even move that away from that office because it was so big. I think that they must have been, I mean, open the window, or maybe they just need to destroy the table, I mean, when they started to do the renovation. But I really know those corner offices with thick tables. But yeah, that was also great fun, but different times.
There's a thread coming here that's coming together. Ville, you mentioned the current TV ad about empty branch offices and everything moving to the mobile. We're talking about the whole distance between wealth management, high net worth individuals, and then people who are predominantly using the app for the S-bonus cards, the general person on the street. If you put all of that together, you also have, if I remember correctly, there's petrol or fuel capabilities in your app. It's not just a traditional banking app. If we look at an OP or a Nordea type of thing, it's much wider. This is actually a question for both of you, because you both sit on the bank side. I sit on the opposite side of the table. Is this the closest we have in Finland to a a super app, which is combining both the banking capabilities, but also looking outside and bringing it all together? Is this where Revolut is hoping to go in Finland, but S-Pankki has already cornered the market? What do you think? It's actually to both of you.
Yes, our S-Mobile, what we have today, it is combining retail and banking. I mean, in a very unique way. We have 1.7 million unique users weekly. So I mean, it is. I mean, there's a bank and there's also your your benefits as a cooperative owner. I mean, it creates traffic to mobile, and we can see that the traffic, I mean, creates us an opportunity then to serve customers, but also to sell, and that is why mobile is actually really in core of our service model vision. I mean, as we speak, we are building our service model and very much also building new capabilities to mobile. We want all the customer journeys to start from mobile in the future. And whatever we bring to mobile, we can see that it gets a good traction. And so it is a very powerful kind of a connection with the customers. It is not any kind of a super app yet. So we have their benefit scheme. You can see your bonus, but we don't have all the services of S Group available in as mobile app. There are several apps actually in S Group. If you go to, as you said, to ABC and want to wash your car, so then you use actually the ABC app. But that is a very good question. What would be the future? I mean, of this environment where we are today, and of course it's more question to S Group than to S-Bank. But at least we have really been able to prove that S-Mobile it is working. I mean, extremely well for the consumers and our customers. But I can share that it is a very good question, and it's a question what is really compelling, and everybody has an opinion. So what would the future look if, and how could all those benefits and services be combined more to mobile, easier way to consumers? But it is work in progress.
We've been repeatedly, Ville, you and I, saying that we don't believe that there is a market for a super app in Europe, and particularly not in the Nordics, because of the way that consumers interact with their phones. But should we be questioning ourselves here now? What's your view?
Well, I think it's a natural position for S-Pankki and S Group to be, because it really is the bonus system that goes throughout your life. I mean, literally from the beginning to the end, like I said before. So with that bonus system, you kind of tie in the banking and the retail and your day-to-day lives. So it just makes sense that you have a kind of app that embeds a lot of that functionality, not everything, but almost everything. So yeah, I mean, it's a natural fit, and actually it is the closest thing to a super app, banking-driven super app, at least, that we have in Finland. And again, it's a perfect fit. But I'm not sure anybody else would be able to pull that off, especially not in a market like Finland, because it really is the kind of the broader ecosystem of S Group that is bringing it all together. So yeah.
I think you put it in a very good way together. I mean, it is an ecosystem which is very unique. Yeah, but sorry, Paul, I interrupted you.
No, absolutely. Continue. I interrupted
No, you go ahead.
No, one of the things that you mentioned as well, and it's popped up, and you can't have an episode on a podcast these days without talking about AI and agentic AI. And there is a future vision that says that sometime in the future, people are actually going to stop interacting with their banking apps. There's going to be their agents talking to the banking app, which is talking to the agents. And how is S-Bank looking at this future of agentic AI and agents being the primary consumer in the future of the banking services?
I mean, of course, we understand that the agentic world will come. What will it mean? And of course, we are preparing to that already. I mean, I mean, the first steps are, of course, that how do the agents find information about S-Bank, that we are available in those searches and whatever the agents are doing on behalf of their owner. Is it called owner? I don't know. Or their, yeah. But then, I mean, what would that mean? That could the agent really be representing the owner? I mean, negotiating the loan, getting the savings advice, and deciding on behalf of the owner. To be honest, and now I'm really honest, I don't know how that would work in the context of all the requirements what we have, that we need to know the customer. We need to make sure that we are giving the best advisory for the customer. So my question is that how do we really solve those questions in the context of banking, which is highly regulated and by nature really protecting the customer. So all those questions needs to be answered before any bank could move in advisory or really those close interactions where you need to know the customer to that world. It might be possible in the future vision, but we just need to figure out first how would we make it work. And I think that the regulator has there a lot to say. But still, I think that we need to be, and we want to be kind of curious. And at least, I mean, what I can see could be the next step is really be prepared. But also, I mean, could we create, as an example, the mobile, for instance, a more conversational user experience that it's not agentic, but it is maybe the way how the customer is already now discussing with his agent. Could we at least build the same of the easiness and convenience to our services? That might be something what we could be able to do much faster. So yeah, but those kind of reflections and thoughts. But as you can see and hear, curious, eager, but also a lot of questions at this point. And of course, I mean, here you can really maybe see that in my role, I mean, we have so much on the table that we don't have all the resources to put to this one question. So maybe in this area, we want to be curious, but also here, most likely we need to be choosing where we want to experiment first, where we want to go first, and then we need to follow in some other aspects, those who have more resources, who can be moving faster. But really something where we want to be part of, and there also I come back to customer. I mean, whatever customer wants, we want to be part of that universe.
It actually leads to a question that we've got written down here, which you talked about regulation and regulatory constraints. I mean, the banking industry is very heavily regulated. And related to that, I mean, if you had zero regulatory constraints for 24 hours and no accountability afterwards, what would be one thing that you would change about the Nordic banking system?
I think we should be able to use the data more freely. I mean, there's so much data what we could utilize on, I mean, to make really benefit the customer and all those data constraints what we have. I think we need those, but I mean, I would really like to see what we could do if those wouldn't be existing. And I hope that this is not, I mean, totally politically incorrect answer, but I mean, I can see so much opportunities with the data, and that actually comes back to that question about agents as well. I mean, and of course to us especially, because if there wouldn't be any constraints, I mean, I think we could also in the S Group ecosystem benefit a bit more about data. So but that might be kind of my daydream.
Yeah, I like the point about data. I mean, it's the common complaint from banks is that yes, we have the data, but we cannot use it, and that's sometimes people don't understand that. that there's so many constraints within regulated organizations on how you can use it. Actually, tying that back a little bit to the previous question about AI agents. I mean, one of the fun use cases that you can do with agents like OpenClaw is that you can actually pull the receipt data from S Group, the digital receipts, into the OpenClaw bot, and then you can start to analyze by yourself. Your bot can learn from your purchases from S Group. So again, maybe just a note on that. It's good that that data is available for me as an individual, because ultimately it is my data, quote unquote, because it's my loyalty data. So it's good that you're able to pull it into your model as well. So anyway, that's one glimpse into the future, perhaps.
Okay, that's a really good point. Thanks. I need to look at my data as well.
Yeah, OpenClaw is a lot of fun. It's a really fun thing to play with.
We are rapidly running out of time, as we always do, and it's been a fantastic.
Time flies when you have fun. Yes.
Exactly. Yes, and we always say that almost on the podcast. It's one of the benefits of doing this is that we do get to have these wonderful discussions, but in the interest of time and making sure that we don't abuse your generosity too much, is there anything that you felt we should have discussed or covered, or you want to share with our listeners that we maybe didn't get to in this episode?
I mean, it's been a lovely discussion. But maybe one more thing is that when we discussed about Handelsbanken and the growth journey of S-Bank, and I mentioned that we have been, I mean, we have very strong capabilities in executing those kind of transactions. So maybe one thing what we didn't discuss is, of course, the how important people are and how important the culture is. And I tend quite often, I'm really positive and optimistic person, but of course I also want to mention that growth is, there are also, of course, challenging things when you grow. And I just want to mention that people angle is very important, and we have a very I would say we have such a strong team in S-Bank, but of course we need to be working on what kind of a culture we want to see in S-Bank, because it is mix of cultures. It is mix of Handelsbanken culture, but it's also a mix from FIM, Lähi, Tapiola, all those kind of steps what we have on our journey. And I just want to mention that people are at the end of the day making all this success, and also, I mean, enabling the future success. And that is something what I'm working very heavily, that how can we really ensure that the team keeps growing to the direction where we want to grow when it's really a mix of cultures. That's maybe something what I want to leave to your listeners. But we talk about technology, we will talk about growth, but it's at the end of the day, it's also it's team and people.
It's actually a very good point. We sometimes forget this. The podcast is very focused on banking, technology, and fintech. And we know that banking is a very technology-heavy industry, but it's still a people business. And I think we sometimes tend to forget that and focus too much on the technology and forget that whilst the technology can make the bank tick over, it is still a people business looking after people and looking after people's financial wellness as well. So a very good point. Ville, any last thoughts or views from you?
No, it's been a fascinating discussion. I mean, like you said, it's about people. We talk less about technology this time around, but I think that's part of the profile of the guests that we have. So again, thank you for joining us, and I hope to talk to you soon again.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
But as always is the case with Fintech Daydreaming, we've got a stable, repeated part. It is the joke. Ville does it at the beginning to ease the mood and get us into the flow. I tend to do it at the end to leave us on a high note. And there is nothing better for us than a C-level guest on our podcast that's willing to share a joke with the world. It's heartwarming. So do you have a joke you want to share with us and the listeners?
I can try. So let's let's take an imaginary bank, and there is a CEO, CTO, and CRO, and they are in a meeting, and the CEO says that I have an excellent idea. It is very digital. It is good for customers, and the market will love it. And the CTO says, "Oh, that's a good idea. I can build it. Let's make it happen." And the CRO says, yes, it's a good idea, but let's make a risk assessment. Let's consider what is the process. Do we have all the controls? And then make this written and bring it to all these 1, 2, 3, at least 5 committees. And let's then see if we can make a pilot. Then the CEO looks at the CTO and CRO and says, okay, I know why I am in this position.
I like that.
That's
very on topic.
Awfully familiar. I wonder why.
Yeah, we maybe should have ended with the question of what's keeping you awake at night, but that was a wonderful, good joke. Thank you very, very much. And thank you for joining us. If our listeners would like to contact you and continue the discussion, and hopefully not too many vendors use this as an excuse to ping you, but how can they reach you?
The easiest way is LinkedIn. Yeah, it's working very well. But please feel free. For vendors, I quite often say if it's not actual, that let's come back later. But I'm always interested in good discussion.
So are we. The good discussions is what drives us all along. And if you've enjoyed this podcast episode and stuck with us to the end, we would really appreciate it if you would hit the like button, leave us a comment. And whilst you're here, why don't you subscribe as well to make sure that you get all future episodes that Ville and I work so hard to bring to you. You can find us on all the usual channels. You can find us on LinkedIn. And obviously, you can also find us on our website on fintechdaydreaming.com. This has been a fantastic episode, a great discussion. As we promised, we bring you the best people in the industry. And who is better than the CEOs that are looking after the banks all across the world, like S-Pankki here in Finland. Ville and I will be back with an episode in 2 weeks' time. And as always, Janna will be joining us because it will be another episode of the Nordic FinTech Highlights. But until then, this has been FinTech Daydreaming.
This is FinTech Daydreaming.